Hello, folks. So, the outer planets are starting to do their chiming and their rhyming and their resonating in harmony right now. You might say, well, why does it not look like the world is actually ready for a whole new state of consciousness? Partly that's because the old systems, the dominator systems, can use the same energy to try to maintain that patterning that has been our scourge for millennia. So, what I want to share with you today is a way to engage with this energy and why it happens to be this opportunity for creating something much more exciting, harmonious, supportive of people, supportive of planet, the life of the planet, and so on. So, this is in my previous videos. I've talked about it. It was most commonly referred to as Barbault's basket. And what I want to do is to share with you what you can do to help you engage with it and to gain just a little bit more understanding. And I'm mostly going to focus with key words, key phrases, but what you can do, and particularly this pattern that I have created, that we are encircled by the planetary positions on how they will appear at the sunrise on Sunday the 19th. And so now what I want to do is to actually create that weave. And again, here's this notion that these highly tuned chimes are metaphorically representing how these archetypal energies within human beings are being activated at this moment. So, this center being representative of the Earth, and what I want to do is to go over here first to Jupiter, because Jupiter is going to be the component that represents the central tension of this whole pattern. So, what can you do with Jupiter in the early degrees of Leo? Well, Jupiter is connected to our growth cycles. Leo is connected to the heart and to courage. So, start a growth cycle with courage from the heart and develop a path towards more personal sovereignty. And that personal sovereignty is not from the place of I need to dominate others or those situations, but from the position of what can I give generously that sheds light like the sun on all of our planet. It just is there. That's a Leo energy. How do we spread? And its core is love. So expand your love, develop this path of the heart, start working with more courage and with the knowledge that your presence and your sovereignty is helping support everyone. So it's in a dynamic tension. You look across the circle, and I'm going to walk over here to Pluto. Pluto in Aquarius, and this has been talked about, and lots of big deal. And I'm going to make this one a little shorter, and because with each one of these we can talk at length about various things. And in some ways, part of what I recommend to people is that I encourage you to take those ideas. What are the inspirations? But in this case, what we have is Pluto is going through the sign of Aquarius, which represents all kinds of new ideas and innovation and the notion of empowering people as equals. And so that is associated with creating democracy on the one hand. It's also a regenerative energy. So we need to be regenerating things like our democracy. We need to be developing innovatively regenerative systems and in particular systems that are regenerative as the Earth is. It is regenerative. And we have gone to something that is an extraction. This is a lower vibration of Pluto, to extract something. What we want to be doing is creating regenerative systems that look to the future. So it also represents groups of like-mindedness. So find groups that empower you, that where the Pluto aspect is empowerment as well. Connect with groups that empower you, where you can show up with your sovereign heart to grow and to offer from yourself those opportunities for others to grow. So that's the dynamic tension. Not to be in, I'm the king of the world and I'm going to extract power from others, but rather, I am a personally sovereign being and I am growing my heart energy and I'm going to empower others and we're going to create regenerative systems. Now, continuing the weave, I'm going to go over here to Uranus. And Uranus, in the sign of Gemini, is about new and innovative ideas and making choices from a higher state of consciousness, from inspiration, from bringing in those kinds of things. And a lot of people have touted this, oh, well, this is the technology, the AI and all of that. Well, that might be a factor. But right now, we know that a lot of AI is about extraction and taking others' ideas in order to control. So, what is the other option? The other option is, what are the innovative ideas that you're bringing in? And maybe the technology is not computers, but rather your own internal organic technology. What would happen if your brain was fully activated as one harmonious symphonic system, and that your brain was part of a coherent field controlled by your heart field, which is stronger than the brain by a factor of 60, that energetic, that real field. I'm not just talking about a spiritual notion here. Some of you know this. I'm talking about measurable technology, and it's that heart field that connects us to all the rest of the world. So if you're able to activate your own internal organic technology with the brain and the heart in coherence with each other, and therefore in coherence with the earth, that maybe is where the technology needs to be focused. The other technologies, they need to be informed by the notions of what is our humanity, what is our future of humanity, how do we create regenerative and empowering systems for everybody. These new ideas need to be focused in that. I'm saying it in a declarative statement. That's my belief. And so there is where these things should be supporting each other. And the groups that you want to connect with, the communities that you want to empower, that you're going to inform with your new and innovative ideas, and maybe the focus is on connecting and healing your own energy, becoming whole, bringing your full brain and heart fields online. So now, where do we go next in this week? Is over here to Neptune. And if you watch the previous videos, Neptune is about this. What is it that you're imagining? What are you feeling in terms of the aspect of your soul, your place in the collective soul? So what is your vision? And in this case, it's not just about a personal vision, but about a vision for the collective. So if you are doing the other things that I suggested, then you're bringing that energy into feeding the collective soul. And part of what we need to be doing by activating those other energies is breaking down that unconscious system that supports dominator, architectures that choose one group of people over another, and it doesn't matter what it is, what label that is. We need to be creating, or my belief that this is about belief, and it's in Aries, it's about what is the new identity, or how am I bringing my identity to this group soul. But it's the idea that we need pluralistic, synergistic pluralities, not an architecture of relation and of social, governmental, that chooses one group over another, but we're all represented equally. And one of the ways to get at this, one of the aspects of Neptune, is universal love. I'm not talking about the oxytocin-driven, oh my God, I'm so in love with her and she loves me and I feel great when I do that, or even that aspect with your child, but rather the energy that is the substance of the universe, that the great teachers have taught us forever. So if you can open your soul, if you can find a way to expand your consciousness and awareness and invite in that unnameable energy that our best label for is love, universal love. And whether you call that compassion, you call that love, and allowance to be, or whatever your particular faith is. So that's what this is. This is about faith in creating new identities and bringing the fire of spirit into what these new beliefs what the beliefs that you want, what you're envisioning and trying to bring in. And at the same time, bringing the fire of spirit, burning down the old structures, Saturn, that aren't serving that, but bringing the fire of spirit to build new ones. Breathe the fire of spirit into your bones. That's this aspect. So what happens on Sunday morning? This is the final part of the weave, is that across from Neptune, the moon comes into alignment. The moon in Libra, and it is activating that entire basket weave in a matter of 1 hour. What does that mean? This moon is the connection to our deep unconscious and our emotional states. It also represents the public. It is where the greatest influence, and it is the transducer of all of these other planets. It is about embodiment and about creating that feeling or those activations deep in our own subconscious. So if you're using your faith, Neptune, in a prayer to activate what your own new belief systems and actions are in activating this wonderful weave of creating new ways of being on the planet, you want to be able to embody it. And with the Libra energy, it's to bring balance. It's to bring social structures where diplomacy is the height, where the understanding of the other helps the individual understand who they are, arriving to other human beings with essential dignity, can have the willingness to work it out with these new systems that we are creating, these synergistic pluralities where we are innovating. Here, the last part, how we finish the weave by going over here. Pluto, regenerative systems, empowering communities, and the revitalization, if you will, of democratic systems that need to be transformed so that nobody can take the power of the people for their own use. So this is what I offer to you, and I would say that if you can enter into a community where there is a prayer work, where you are focusing that kind of energy, where you're coming into that frequency. So it's not just for yourself, but the feeding of the collective soul and the feeding of these new and innovative ideas. But if at the very least you're helping to bring that into yourself to become more whole, to become more healed, and that you are projecting that out there, that energy out there with love and sovereignty and the ideas of creating some new vision of the new earth and the new human. So I hope that's helpful and that you find a way to engage with this, not just Sunday morning, July 19th, but it's all happening right now. And I might do additional videos that go into more detail, but I want to encourage you, create art, write poetry, think about these systems, write those down. How can you show up with more heart and courage to be who you really are? How can you enter into a relationship with essential dignity of the other person to work out more understanding and balance in the world? With that, I say many blessings and Hamatakyasam.